May 20, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. There was no real economic data that came out to really move the market. Total price range was about 20 points, I guess you could say, about 53.48 to maybe about, well, you could take it down to 53.23, which would make it about a 25-point range. Most of the price action took place probably in this zone here, about 6 to 7 points, which isn't very much. Then there was a sell-off midday, bounced around, and overall the price action, as with characteristic of this month, has been very slow. Today was no exception. I see that tomorrow there's really no economic data coming out as well. It's mostly just a bunch of Fed FOMC members speaking. They may cause a blip here and there. But the big guy, Chairman Powell, he's not going to be showing up to speak tomorrow. So most of it is just going to probably be pretty similar today, maybe just choppy, no real volatility, no real volume. I took a total of 1 trade today, and to be honest, there wasn't that many setups that I could find. So I'm just going to talk about my 1 trade and the follow-up possible trade right after. The rest of the chart I'll go through rather quickly. There were second entries, but they didn't set up nicely. The signal bar was either pretty bad. Price action, it was really slow, so it took a while for these candles to close. And so pretty much after this 1 trade, there wasn't really anything too exciting. So let's get into the trades right now. So a good indication for me is I've been keeping logs of what the total volume is right before the market opens. So I know how much price action, how much volume has traded before the market opens for regular trading hours. Today was one of the lower days again. So knowing that and just kind of keeping track of what happens on each day, and also take spot checks at different times throughout the day, and then as well as the very final close. So I have a pretty good idea of where I think how much volume is going to trade today, especially on days where there's no economic data. And today you can already tell in the pre-market there weren't very many candles printed, as well as there was a lot of indecision. Prices just kind of floated in the 8-point range, but it was just very choppy, no clear trend. So at this point in time, I thought it was going to be a range day. So I wasn't too ambitious or too optimistic that it was going to offer too many things today. So on the open, prices start moving up. I found this yellow trend line up. It kind of hits a consolidation area here. There's really no good clean second entry. I was trying to look for it, but there was nothing happening. It pushes up. I find the potentially this purple trend line going up, and I made it into a larger channel. I was weary and aware of potential resistance right here at the pre-market high, which is kind of where this dashed gray line is, because I ended up extending it out to make it a larger trading range. So I was aware that there could be a bounce here. It pushes up and through. So I'm watching to see if there potential fail breakout. Drops along. There's no clear second entries, no chance to get in safely. Prices then come back. It bounces off the EMA. It's a bad signal bar. There's no setup here. This could only potentially be a first entry. Here you have a first entry. So it breaks out of this purple channel. This purple channel wants to test its new high, comes back. And here, when I saw this candle, it ticked 2 ticks below, and then it pushed all the way up. So you have a confirmed second entry long. The confirmed second entry long also ends on a very solid trigger bar, because this is technically your signal bar that it confirms the second entry long. So I actually like this trade setup because I thought it's actually bouncing off the EMA. EMA might be starting to hold support. Purple channel wants to test its high. This is a really strong candle, so I decided to enter on the next candle. When the next candle opened, it kind of flashed around and closed as a doji, but it closed in the upper end. So actually when it opened, it pulled back, and it pulled back. So I had my original order 1 tick above this guy. Typically I keep it 1 tick above the original signal bar, but I kept it 1 tick above here. I wanted to see momentum push through because I saw enough room to the highs. So I kept it 1 tick above. It opened and actually pulled back. When it pulled back, I wasn't too sure that this trade was going to happen. So I actually moved my order up and away, or pretty much canceled it at this point. I've dragged my trade up, waited for this to close. It closed at the same place it opened. Then I decided, actually, looks like it broke out of this orange down channel, tested the new low. It's probably going to reverse up. So it's 1 push up, pull back. This could be the second push up. I trusted there was going to be enough momentum to at least get me the 1-point scalp. So I entered 1 tick above again right here. It opened, pulled back. I was able to drop in my order, and the next candle I was able to get out. So I was expecting prices to push back up to here, but I wasn't that confident, so I only went for a 1 point scalp. Pops around, looks like if I was still sitting in this trade, I'd still be holding. This creates a higher low, which confirms second entry short. I thought this is another possible entry, but it's a little more aggressive just because it's higher and closer to the total high of the day. But there is still enough room to do a quick scalp. But I already got this, and I figured this is a worthwhile entry, but I didn't want to push my luck. It flashes through, so this next candle would have likely gotten me a second profitable scalp. Pops around, keeps moving up. So clearly, I think the purple up channel has played out. Well, not played out, but it tested its new high, broke out, tested one up, pull back, second test up. Now this could potentially be a higher low, and prices could come flushing back down, or it could create a second leg here. So I was just kind of watching and waiting. Pops around, it's a little congested here. Ideally, if this candle had created a green, I think there would have been a trade here because I did draw this green channel going up. And I thought if this bounces here and it closes very strongly, unlike it closed very bearish here, it would have been a quick trade here because I think there would have been still more buyers in the market. But since this closed like that, I decided just to sit it out. But then it quickly reverses. So as you can see here, a lot of people, I think, similar to me, just going to watch and wait. When it ticks one tick below, you could probably have taken this on the engulfing and it would have closed really, really strongly. After seeing this, I was thinking I definitely don't want to jump in on this trade because the trade has already been made. It's only one tick from the highs. It feels risky. If there's a smaller trading range, then you'd be buying at the high. Looks like if you did enter, you get one tick in. Here, depending on where your stop is, if it's down here, you'd be safe. Here, depending on how much profit you're going for, you may or may not have gotten out of the trade, and you still be holding here through this noise. So that's something definitely I'm happy I didn't try to jump in on. It gets noisy, just congestion here, flushes down. And if you're going for more, then if you entered here and you're going for 1 point, you probably would have gotten the quick scalp. If you're going for 2, you'd be sitting through this noise, and you'd likely have kept your stop below this candle or this candle, and you would have likely have gotten stopped out here. However, seeing this play out, I think I would have tried to either get out, break even, which you can see if you did enter one tick above, you would not have survived, or maybe just taking a smaller loss. But in the case like this, I think I would have just kept my stop here, probably gotten taken out, and then just called it a, well, bad trade. But the initial conditions didn't really convince me that it was a good enough trade, just because after this candle closed, you're already pressing your luck, asking it to move even higher. So this needed to be a better candle because then you could have a new high, first entry long, second entry long, good candle, potentially EMA still holding, bouncing off the green, then that would have been a good trade. Prices then continue moving up, or actually moving sideways, pushes down. You have a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, no good signal bar. Prices do kind of start slowing down. You do have a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. When I saw this, I didn't like that this was an inside bar, so it didn't really convince me that the bears were starting to push back into the market because it's an inside bar. It did close very nicely, and unfortunately, it's slightly above the EMA, so I needed more things going for this questionable trade for me to even think about taking a trade, and unfortunately, nothing quite lined up. And of course, you see that it does flush through, but I'm okay not taking this trade because I don't think this is high probability, just having to work out that way. Pushes down. I think this might be the support line. Trade just kind of moves sideways. Here I can already tell the market is slowing down quite a bit. You have this orange up channel, breaks, tests the new high. I'm a little unsure if this trading range is valid or if I'm kind of in a larger trend at this point. So I'm just kind of sitting on my hands waiting for things to play out because at one time I did draw this trend channel like this, but it didn't confirm that well at the high side. Low side, you could say maybe there's 2, maybe 3 touches, but only 2 touches here. So I did have this at one time and I was watching carefully. It has this overshoot and it flushes down. When I saw this big move down, I was looking over to see if there was something that I missed, because this could be a first entry short, second entry short, but then technically you have another third entry short, fourth entry short, fifth entry short. So it's just nothing really clean here. Prices move down, it's below the EMA. You have a first entry long, second entry long, not the best signal bar. The follow-up bar wasn't that convincing either. Chops around sideways, breaks out below. Again, price action is really slowing down. These candles are taking quite a little bit of time to close. You have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. This needed a bit better signal bar. It did technically close below the EMA, but I would have considered this a trade if it closed at the low. But as you can tell, even if it closed at the low, it's an inside bar to this previous bullish bar. So just kind of made me pause and wait. And it's also potentially still within this yellow uptrend. So it could have potentially bounced off of this and kept going up. So wasn't sure, so sat through. Prices didn't continue moving. It's not the cleanest price action. Well, it's not the most best setup price action. Then you have a first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long here. It's a strong signal bar, broke out of the orange channel. Technically, you could say it tested its new low. I didn't like the looks of the signal bar. The risk is pretty low because it's only a 5-tick chart. Excuse me, 5-tick bar. So you may have considered it, but I just left it alone. It gets kind of small, these candles, and it's just moving sideways, but it's not even I guess super convincing, because here I believe I'm in a trading range now. The top confirms better than the bottom, but when I see this, I saw first entry long, second entry long, then this move up, then down. There was potential trade here, I thought, but it is getting really close to the last 30 minutes, because right here, this is timestamp 12:32 Pacific Standard. So I know there's only 30 minutes left. I kept looking back to my left and just looking at the price action. I was just thinking, I'm pretty happy that I just got the one trade green for the day. I don't want to press my luck at this point. This is an okay setup, but not something I just felt I absolutely had to take, because it is first entry long, second entry long failure. It's probably at the high of the range and pushing back down to the bottom. But as I said, time of day, I just kind of called it quits at that point on taking any trades, because I didn't want to potentially give back any profits on a really slow, non-eventful day. Prices pushed down, so it looked like it would have worked out for a quick 1-point scalp. Prices then continue moving, starts trending down, but it's not the cleanest trend channel that I really like. Kind of going in, and this is actually the last 10 minutes. So a lot of this price action is happening in the last 10 minutes, which you definitely want to be careful when you're trading, because I don't want to be holding any of these positions overnight. Wild things can happen overnight. So it just kind of moves into the close. So overall, not the most exciting day, and nothing really, really took place today. So I am kind of happy that I just at least got even one trade out on the ES. So hopefully that was helpful.